So we have the new Mercedes EQE, the Audi Q8 e-tron, or the Audi A6 e-tron, the Tesla Model S, the Lucid Air Pure or Touring, and the Genesis Electrified G80. Let's talk about them. So we'll start with the Mercedes first. The EQE is a really interesting car because it's the only sedan in this group, and it also has the lowest price tag, and it also happens to be the worst performing car in this group, so it starts at $104,000. That's pretty good considering that most EVs cost over $100,000 these days. But it's still not great if you want something truly luxurious. The EQE is the most entry-level car in this group, but Mercedes does make a really nice interior. It's super clean, it's super minimal, looks fantastic. The infotainment system is super cool with the huge screen. They also have the hyper screen, which is even better. You can customize everything exactly how you like it. It's super comfortable, and I think it's a very nice place to be in. The EQE also has a lot of tech. It's supposed to have level 3 autonomous driving. I don't know if they gonna get there or not. But it does have a lot of semi-autonomous features like lane keeping and adaptive cruise control and stuff like that. However, the thing that really kills the EQE is the fact that it has the lowest range in this group. It has only 275 miles of range compared to the other cars which have like 400 plus range, and it also has the slowest charging speed. It charges at 50 kilowatts max, which is very slow, and it also has the lowest horsepower. It makes only 288 horsepower, which is again pretty weak compared to the other cars in this group. The acceleration is okay at 5.9 seconds. But the top speed is limited to 125 miles an hour, which is pretty lame. It also has the smallest battery out of all the cars in this group, at 90 kilowatt hours, which is pretty small. Now, one thing that the EQE does really well is that it has the lowest drag coefficient in this group at 0.3 CD, which means it's the most aerodynamic efficient car. That's why it has the highest efficiency rating out of all of these cars at 3.4 watt-hours per mile, which is pretty impressive. And it also has the lowest base price in this group. It starts at $104,000, which is pretty good compared to the other cars, which are way more expensive. Overall, the EQE is a nice car, but I think it's not worth it if you want something truly luxurious and high performance. If you just want a nice EV sedan that's affordable, then it's a great choice. Next up is the Audi R8 e-tron or the Audi A6 e-tron. Now, this is a very confusing car because Audi made two versions of it. There's the Sportback, which is the A6 e-tron, and then there's the regular Q8 e-tron. They look very different. The Sportback is a sedan style like the EQE, and it looks very futuristic and cool. The Q8 is more of a traditional SUV style, and it looks more conservative and normal. I am gonna talk about both of them, but I am mainly gonna focus on the Q8 because it's the higher-end model, and it's also the more expensive one. The Audi R8 e-tron has a lot of things going for it. It has a really nice interior that's very similar to the EQE. It has a lot of tech and semi-autonomous features, and it also has a very powerful electric motor that makes 469 horsepower, and it also has a lot of torque at 472 pound-feet. That makes it the second most powerful car in this group after the Tesla Model S, which makes 670 horsepower. It has a pretty decent range at 284 miles, and it can charge at 150 kilowatts, which is pretty fast. However, the Audi Q8 e-tron has a lot of things that hold it back from being the best car in this group. First of all, it's very expensive, starting at $139,000, which is way more than the EQE and other cars in this group. Secondly, it has a very poor efficiency rating at 4.7 watt-hours per mile, which is terrible. That's because it has a very high drag coefficient at 0.32. CD, which means it is not very aerodynamic efficient. That also means that it has a pretty small battery for a luxury EV at 85 kilowatt hours, which is not very big. That combined with its poor efficiency means that it has a limited range for a luxury EV at 284 miles, which is pretty low. And finally, it has a pretty slow acceleration at 6.1 seconds, which is not very impressive for a car in this class. Overall, the Audi Q8 e-tron is a nice car with a lot of potential, but it is let down by its high price tag. Poor efficiency and slow performance. I think it's not worth the money if you want something truly luxurious and high performance. Next up is the Tesla Model S now. This is the AUG luxury EV sedan, and it is still one of the best cars in this group, despite being the oldest one. It has the longest range at 405 miles, which is insane for an EV. And it also has the fastest charging speed at 250 kilowatts, which is pretty crazy. It also has the most powerful engine in this group, making 670 horsepower, and it has the fastest acceleration at 1.99 seconds, which is bonkers for any car, let alone an EV. It also has the most advanced tech in this group, with the full self-driving capability, beta, and the insane yoke steering wheel, and the minimalist interior. However, the Tesla Model S is not perfect. It has a pretty poor efficiency rating at 4.5 watt-hours per mile, which is not great for an EV. That is because it has a pretty high drag coefficient at 0.26 CD, which means it is not very aerodynamic efficient. That also means that it has a pretty small battery for an EV at 100 kilowatt hours, which is pretty low. And it also has a pretty high base price at $109,000, which is pretty steep for an EV overall. The Tesla Model S is still one of the best cars in this group, despite its shortcomings, and it is definitely worth considering if you want a high-performance EV sedan. Next up is the Lucid Air Pure or Touring. Now, this is the newest car in this group, and it's also the most promising one. It has a lot of things going for it. It has a very futuristic and minimalist interior that is very similar to the Tesla, but it also has a lot of luxury and comfort features that you won't find in a Tesla. It also has a very powerful engine that makes 480 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque, which is very impressive for a car in this class. It also has a very long range at 406 miles, which is insane for a car in this class, and it also has a pretty fast charging speed at 195 kilowatts, which is pretty impressive. However, the Lucid Air Pure or Touring is not perfect. It has a pretty high base price at $154,000, which is way more than the EQE and other cars in this group. It also has a pretty poor efficiency rating at 4.2 watt-hours per mile, which is not very good for an EV. That is because it has a pretty high drag coefficient at 0.29 CD, which means it is not very aerodynamic efficient. That also means that it has a pretty small battery for a luxury EV at 91 kilowatt hours, which is not very big. And it also has a pretty slow acceleration at 4.2 seconds, which is not very impressive for a car in this group. Overall, the Lucid Air Pure or Touring is a very promising car with a lot of potential, but it is held back by its high price tag, poor efficiency, and slow performance. I think it's not worth the money if you want something truly luxurious and high performance. And now, last but not least, is the Genesis Electrified G80. This is the underdog of this group, and it's also the least known one, but it's also the most fun one. It has a lot of things going for it. It has a very unique and stylish interior that's very Korean and very bold. It has a lot of luxury and comfort features that you won't find in other cars in this group. It also has a very powerful engine that makes 516 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque, which is very impressive for a car in this class. It also has a pretty decent range at 282 miles, which is pretty good for a car in this class, and it also has a pretty fast charging speed at 180 kilowatts, which is pretty impressive. However, the Genesis electrified G80 is not perfect. It has a pretty high base price at $105,000, which is pretty steep for an EV. It also has a pretty poor efficiency rating at 4.7 watt-hours per mile, which is not very good for an EV. That's because it has a pretty high drag coefficient at 0.31 CD, which means it's not very aerodynamic efficient. That also means that it has a pretty small battery for a luxury EV at 87 kilowatt-hours, which is not very big. And it also has a pretty slow acceleration at 4.5 seconds, which is not very impressive for a car in this group. Overall, the Genesis electrified G80 is a very fun car with a lot of potential, but it's held back by its high price tag, poor efficiency, and slow performance. I think it's not worth the money if you want something truly luxurious and high performance. So, those are my thoughts on all 5 cars. Now, it's your turn to choose which one you would pick. Would you pick the Mercedes EQE, the Audi Q8 e-tron, the Tesla Model S, the Lucid Air Pure or Touring, or the Genesis electrified G80? Let me know in the comments below. And now, here's the old man making his video review. Hello everybody, and welcome to another video. Today we're gonna be taking a look at some of the best luxury EVs that you can buy today. We're gonna be comparing them on their specs, performance, range, price, and more. And we're gonna see which one is the best option for you. Alright, so let us take a look at each one of these cars and see what they have to offer. First up is the Mercedes EQE. This is Mercedes' flagship EV sedan, and it's a direct competitor to the Tesla Model S. The EQE has a sleek and stylish design that's typical of Mercedes cars. It has a long hood, a sloping roofline, and a short trunk, which gives it a sporty and elegant look. The interior of the EQE is just as impressive as its exterior. It has a very futuristic and minimalist look with a huge 56-inch touchscreen infotainment system that dominates the dashboard. The EQE is powered by one electric motor that produces 288 horsepower and 561 pound-feet of torque. The EQE has a range of 275 miles and a top speed of 125 miles per hour. The EQE starts at $104,000, which is pretty affordable for a luxury EV sedan. Overall, the EQE is a great option for those who are looking for a high-performance EV sedan with a luxurious interior and a reasonable price tag. Next up is the Audi R8 e-tron. The Audi R8 e-tron is a luxury midsize SUV that was introduced by Audi in 2018. It has a powerful electric motor that produces 449 horsepower and 470 pound-feet of torque. The SUV has a range of 284 miles and a top speed of 124 miles per hour. The Audi SUV starts at $139,000, which is pretty expensive for an EV. Overall, the Audi R8 e-tron is a great option for those who are looking for a high-performance EV SUV with a luxurious interior. Next up is the Tesla Model S. The Tesla Model S is a luxury sedan that was first introduced in 2012. It has a powerful electric motor that produces 733 horsepower and 1,000 pound-feet of torque. The Model S has a range of 405 miles and a top speed of 155 miles per hour. The Tesla Model S starts at $109,000, which is pretty expensive for an EV. Overall, the Tesla Model S is a great option for those who are looking for a high-performance EV sedan with a futuristic interior. Next up is the Lucid Air Pure or Touring. The Lucid Air Pure or Touring is a luxury sedan that was introduced by Lucid Motors in 2021. It has a powerful electric motor that produces 480 horsepower and 520 pound-feet of torque. The Lucid Air has a range of 406 miles and a top speed of 168 miles per hour. The Lucid Air starts at $154,000, which is very expensive for an EV. Overall, the Lucid Air Pure or Touring is a great option for those who are looking for a high-performance EV sedan with a luxurious interior. And last but not least is the Genesis Electrified G80. The Genesis Electrified G80 is a luxury sedan that was introduced by Genesis in 2021. It has two electric motors that produce 516 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque. The electrified G80 has a range of 282 miles and a top speed of 149 miles per hour. The Genesis Electrified G80 starts at $105,000, which is pretty expensive for an EV. Overall, the Genesis Electrified G80 is a great option for those who are looking for a high-performance EV sedan with a unique interior. So, those are some of the best luxury EVs that you can buy today. Now, it's your turn to decide which one is the best option for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.